Alright guys, so today's going to be a little bit different. We're not working on the trucks, but I have been working on this for a while. So last year, Casey Liddell had a job that he needed help on because I had some bigger trucks than he did. And so we're kind of doing a thank you here. We're building a wall hanging plaque for him. So this is out of Ponderosa Pine. I started it this summer. So I had this really large log, and I split it in half, and I took the very center of the log out. So we kind of carved it out just a little bit. I didn't get any footage of that, unfortunately. But it was super wet. So we've had to keep it in the shop under cover, and I had it outside for most of the summer, trying to dry out, and a lot of sap came out of this. So now that it's winter, this thing's pretty dry now. It's been sitting inside the shop under cover. So now we're going to try to finish it for him. He does not know that he's getting this. So this is kind of his logo, and these are the mountains in his logo. I did add some trees, to give it a little bit more on the sides. So we'll build a really large bracket on the back, so we can hang it. So yeah, we're gonna get started and start carving some more of this stuff out. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy it. We've got a few more carving projects coming up. Alright guys, so now I'll take a rubber mallet and my chisel, and I'll just pop a lot of this stuff out. Okay, so I'll get all that cleaned out, and I'll have to use my small Dremel so I can get a little bit deeper in here, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we got my Dremel set up and our bit put on. Is this little guy. These things are no joke. You got to make sure your hand holding on to this Dremel, okay? Or if this thing catches an edge, it will eat you up, okay? It's about time to get me a new bit. This one's getting a little old, but it'll work for now. Alright guys, so we've been working on the carving again. Taking a break because it is solid ice outside today. So we've been just carving this a little deeper. Still have a lot of cleanup work to do, and I got some letters to fix where they split. But I've just been using my carving knives and some chisels to shape the letters. See? Like that little piece I gotta glue back on. Well, that's part of this, you know. Pine's brittle, does split, okay. But once we're done, you won't even know the difference. So, for mallet, very time consuming, okay. Especially with letters, you gotta be careful as you'll split them. So, all right. We'll video a little bit of this and then get to something else. Little pieces of time. It's a very time consuming. Alright guys, so we've got quite a bit done to the carving. So it's starting to take shape. We've got to get the chainsaw out and cut some bark, and so we've pretty much got the lettering done. There's still a lot of sanding to go. But now I'm going to start putting some of the black stain on so it can start drying and soak in. And then after that, we'll probably do some burning and then a lot more sanding. So I'm going to save you guys the pain and anguish of me putting the stain on, because it's very tedious, and it's with a tiny little brush, so I can get in here, and yeah, takes a long time. So once we get all that done, I'll be back. Alright guys, so I've got the carving turned over. I've got to smooth out some of the back here from where the chainsaw cut into. So once we get it smoothed down, we're going to get a piece of sheet metal and put on the back of this and glue it and put tons of screws in it to hold everything together, because this will eventually crack. But if we can have it solid mounted on that piece of steel, then it'll keep the cracks from growing. At least that's what the hope and plan is. And I'll be able to weld the strips on here that we're going to use to hang it on the wall. So, all right. Alright guys, so we've been working on a little bit of the carving. So we've got a backer, a steel backer for it. So I plasmaed out all the holes, and I cut along the edge. So the screws we're using are these guys. Has a nice big head, and so it's a 5/16 screw, and it'll go in there, lock it down, and hopefully keep this thing from splitting so much. If it does split, at least I'll have all the screws to hold it all together. And we will throw glue down. So I'm going to use some Gorilla Glue, wood glue, and put it all down. But for now, I've got to take this outside, and I'm going to primer the other side of this plate. Let it dry, and then we'll bring it back up here, glue it, and put all the screws in. So we'll be back in a minute. I'm going to set this thing outside and on some sawhorses and get it painted. So we did get a little bit of stain on the backside here, just to help preserve the wood a little bit. Okay, and I did pre-drill all my holes, so when I screw the steel plate on, it goes in and helps with cracking. I want this thing to last as long as possible. So we did get our white primer on. It doesn't matter that it's white, because it's going to go down on the wood. So we'll just wait till it dries, and then we'll put it back up here and put all of our wood glue down and start sinking some screws. So once everything's dry, we'll be back. Alright guys, so we've got our glue. We're getting ready to put all the glue down so then we can put the sheet of metal on and then screw it down. So let's get to it. So I did number each screw hole for the depth of the screw. So each one is marked like a 5-inch, a 4-inch, 3-inch, so I don't go too far. And we're going to start setting these out, making sure we have plenty of room for all of our screws. So, there we go. Alright guys, I looked for some more screws, couldn't find any, so I'll have to run to town. But for now, we're just going to let this thing dry and do its thing. The glue will foam up a little bit and kind of squirt out the sides, and so we got to wait for this thing to dry, and then we'll clean up all the glue, and then we will flip it back on the other side to finish some stuff up. I did find an LED light, so it will go on the other side, and it'll sit up in the carving, and the plug will come out the back side. Also, I'll have to drill through that. But yeah, it's come along. It's a long, slow process, especially when I'm limited and working on the trucks and trying to do some tow jobs and all that other stuff. So long process, but it'll be worth it in the end. And yeah, so we'll be back once this thing's dry. Alright guys, so I put a little bit more fur depth on here. Once I burn it and resand it, it'll really pop out there. And we're getting closer. So I just need to finish, blowing it off, and then I have a couple letters to fix. I'll get those glued on, and then we'll burn it and then start resanding again. And then after that we could start putting stain and different colors on. So alright guys, so we're back on the carving. I got the steel plate all cleaned up, and I've got our brackets put on. So that's all welded up. I'll let it cool down, and then we'll take the wire wheel and clean up all the junk off of it here in a minute. And then I'll start masking this all off so I can put primer on the steel, and then we'll paint it. And I do have to re-drill this hole to make it large enough for the cord for the light, so the cord will poke through and come out the back. And once we finish the back side here, then we can start putting some stain on and get some color on this thing. And then after that, we should be able to put some urethane on it. So alright guys, so we got the first coat of primer on, so I'm going to let it sit probably a couple hours, let us get hardened up, and then we'll get some black paint and start painting it. But it's turning out pretty good so far. So next time this should all be painted black by the time we come back. So alright guys, so we got the carving flipped over, and I've got some black paint on it where I need it. So it's on the trees, but most of that will get sanded off. You'll just see kind of black streaks in there. So now we're going to get the torch out and burn it. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're going to sit and let it cool off for a while. So some of the sap came out of it. It's a little sticky. So we're going to just let it sit. Make sure the shop doesn't burn down in case something fell in the sawdust. We'll be out here paying attention to it while I'm working on the truck. So yeah, after this we'll take my sanding wheel and we'll go over it, sand it, and take care of spots that we missed. So, but the burning helps with a lot of the softening the tool marks areas. Yeah. All right. We'll be back. All right, guys. So the carving has dried enough, and we got our flap sander ready. So this is what I use. These little flap wheels, and this is on a bearing, so you can hold on to it, have control. So we're gonna start sanding. Alright guys, so we're done sanding for now. I'll get the air gun and I'll blow this thing off. But the tree is lightened up quite a bit. So didn't turn out too bad. So after this, we'll start putting some stain on to give it some more of the wood color. I think I need to go get some stain. So stand by. Alright guys, so we've got a coat of the red paint on. So it kind of makes it pop out pretty good. So we've got the stain on the trees and some stain on the mountains. So once it gets outside, it'll be a lot brighter. It's kind of dark in here. But we'll put another coat of red paint on there. And we're still touching up some of the areas, but it's coming along. Till next time. Alright guys, so we've got the light put in it just temporarily. So that's kind of what it looks like. We just need to make some little brackets to hold it up in place. So the paint dried overnight. I still have a little bit of touch-up work to do, some of the red and some of the black, but it's coming along. So until the next time. Alright guys, so I've got a little bit more paint done on the carving. This is just the first coat, so I think it's turning out pretty good. So I do have a little bit of stain to put on yet, but it's coming together slowly. So that's it for now. I'll get another coat of paint on here, and then we'll start putting some urethane on. Alright guys, so we're getting ready to spray the urethane on the carving. So we got the second coat of paint on. It's kind of hard to tell, but it did cover up quite a bit of stuff, but you could see through. So now we're going to put the urethane on, the first coat, and I got the doors open for some ventilation. I've got my respirator, and we're going to get it done. Alright, so that's the first coat. We've got many more to go. So I just put it on nice and light. So you can just get a little bit on there. Start drying, start tacking up. And you can kind of see the shine to it. Next few coats will be a little bit thicker. But it's kind of a long process. Gotta wait for everything to dry and do its thing. So while that's drying, we're gonna start working on the mounts that mount on the wall for it. So, alright. Alright guys, so I made a quick cardboard template real quick. And I got all of our lines and all of our holes marked. So we're going to drill some holes real quick. That's a 9/16 bit. So he'll be able to use 1/2-inch bolts to hang this thing. So we're going to do that real quick and then get the grinder out, clean them up, and then start welding the hooks up. Alright guys, so we're all done welding these guys. I'll let them sit up here and cool down, and then we'll clean them up and we'll paint these. We're just going to do them in black, so no big deal. The next thing is we've just got to wait for our second coat of urethane to dry, and then we'll put a third coat on and then see where we're at, see how well it absorbed into it. It'll be a couple days for it to get really soaked in there. I'm going to start a fire in my fireplace in there, get some heat going so it can help dry it and let it soak in. So alright guys, until then, I'm back to working on truck stuff. Alright guys, so we are here. We have the carving on the back of the truck. I've got the family all loaded up to help me. There's another one back here hiding. So Casey, this is a surprise for him. So we've see what happens, see if he likes it. So I'm gonna hand the camera off to the wife.
I think you're bringing the whole roll back over.
Yeah. Make it interesting.
Oh, why not? What do you have going on?
He made you your own casket.
That's what it looks like, yeah. Guy says, hey, can I stop by real quick? I gotta drop something off. Yeah, sure. The rollback shows up with a casket on it.
He hasn't even seen the top yet.
We tried to stop by, said he had something to drop off. And this shows up. Your husband is weird. Just so you know.
I like to say special.
It's like fully crated up and everything.
Does it make you feel special?
Makes me feel something. It makes me feel something.
Everybody get back.
So I need to put a helmet on. Holy crap. Wow. That's amazing.
So we did this, for a thank you to help us get started on the YouTube stuff. So
Well, this is a huge thank you. Hey, I found the sign for my office.
I think it's bigger than your office.
yeah, the same ways a little bit.
Wow.
That is so cool.
That is amazing, Troy.
It has a light.
LED light.
Beautiful.
That's incredible. Right, do you know what that says? Yeah.
She knows what's
So,
up.
Troy made that.
The log this came out of was huge. It was a huge piece of ponderosa. And I cut the center completely out of it. And then I cut the form of it. And the letters, I had to go get a huge banner made and then cut the banner
Oh,
out
like as a stencil?
as the stencil. Because I could have done it by hand, but it would have
You
taken
put the groove through and everything.
it would have taken so long. So I did that and I kind of rough cut it in, and then I had to wait all summer because it was so wet. So it's been sitting under a tarp out in the sun, kind of its own little
Your own kiln?
kiln.
And he's been trying to keep it off camera. And
Yeah, every time we do something, I'm over there tarping it and then hiding it. People come over, I'm gonna hide it.
This is incredible. Yeah.
And then this winter I tested it, and it was dry enough that it wasn't clogging my tools up, so it was
Yeah.
dry enough to work with.
Then you could finish it out.
And then I could finish it out.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's got some girth to it.
You think?
There's an 1/8 inch plate on the back side, the whole everything,
Oh, to reinforce it all?
to reinforce it.
So that's what this is all hanging from and everything?
Yep. So
Yeah, it's got some weight to it.
so
Oh, wow.
it is screwed and grooved.
That is not going anywhere.
So yeah.
That's incredible.
So it's your responsibility to hang it.
Might have to
think I
bring
got
a
a
different
backflip
truck
to lift
over
this
for
thing
that.
All right. And then there's the chain. So this side goes into the rings up there. And then these over that, slide over. So I left the hook on it. So this chain was one of the chains that broke rolling the propane truck over. And the two bow shackles were the shackles that failed. We couldn't twist them back in anymore, so I was like, you know what?
You backed them off, didn't you?
No.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
And then here's the backing
The backing
plates.
plates for that.
Yeah. So I was gonna get screws, but I didn't know how thick your walls were, and so
We got this big post in the shop building there, right over the welding bench. I think I can go right to those. Should work.
Oh, good. So you think you have a spot?
They might tip my shop over, but nice spot.
Hopefully no heavy snow loads on top of that all.
That is amazing. Like that's like the full-on logo with the mountains on the shirt and everything.
yeah. I mean, the stencil that the banner was humongous, because it got so big. Because I couldn't ask you for your logo, so I had to get it off the internet.
Oh, and then when you
it-
blow it up, it's all
Right,
pixelated. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I'm pictured looking at it like, do I cut this line here? So I tried to get it as best as I could.
You could have said like I'm gonna make a sticker or something, and I'd have gave you the logo. I wouldn't have expected this.
So
That is very cool.
lots of footage. It's gonna take probably 3 days of going through footage to cut it
Over a
down.
year.
Now, well,
I couldn't even cut the slab out of the log without screwing it out. Let alone do all this and put a light in it and everything.
yeah. So it looks pretty cool when it's lit up.
That's so.
I don't know if I have pictures on here of that.
Well, I'm gonna find out for sure.
But it's just the colors are actual outdoor house paint, so it can sustain the UVs,
Yeah.
and everything else is just urethane. I put a little bit darker stain on the trees, but everything else is just urethane. So if it starts doing anything weird, just clean it off. Helmsman, they do it in a can. You can just put a coat on it. It will crack over time and do weird stuff as wood. But all the screws and the glue on the backside.
That's it. That big old plate on the back's gonna hold it rigid.
Hold it really good.
That's like in there. What are you doing messing with tow trucks when you can do stuff like this? I drive tow trucks. I don't have the skills to do anything else.
Yeah, this is more of a side passion.
This is so cool. What do you think of this, Rye? You like it?
In his bedroom.
Should this be our new headboard?
I was just gonna say, be a nice headboard.
Big wall.
Big enough.
And you got a reading light.
Oh yeah, there's our night light.
How bright is it?
It's pretty bright.
Yeah, I imagine.
over
You
your
should hang it
driveway.
right over the porch.
That's what I was
Oh
thinking.
yeah, right there. Right, in
Right?
front of that porch.
And then we have power up there. Could it
Oh.
plug in when we turn the light on?
Do you think that will fit
Night
there?
light, porch light, you got it.
Yeah.
7 feet.
I love your porch.
How much does it weigh? About 500 pounds?
That's some
heavy.
weight.
I can see your porch going like,
Yeah. Yeah, we got a structural reading on that porch.
router work or chainsaw?
Chainsaw and Dremel, and then
Around the letters and so on.
all my carving knives, because pine's so brittle, so I had to use my little carving knives and
Do a
Cool.
little, yeah.
To get in all the letters.
yeah. I mean, there was some mess ups here and there, but
That's
Can't
amazing.
see it from this distance. And I know you can't see it from your house, so why worry?
That is amazing.
Nobody else has one like that.
Nope. That's yeah.
so when I first started, I wasn't filming any of it.
You what?
I wasn't filming any of this when I first started it, and then people started seeing carvings in the background, and they're like, "Hey, you need to do some chainsaw carving. We'd love to see it." And then I started filming.
It's got a nice curve to it. Well done.
This is some cool art, huh, Ray? This is how Troy
I know
does
it should
art.
go in Riley's bedroom.
Yeah.
You want this in your bedroom? Yeah. There, right over that table.
Yeah.
So you're working, it's behind there, but I think build a steel frame, put it on that big blank wall in the office would be even cooler.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's-
because once you start grinding and
yeah. In there, then it's just, yep.
Yeah.
I think in there would be the way to go.
Yeah.
I'll get some steel and build a big frame.
I don't have to hang the pictures anymore.
Nope. No, that's covered. We're like, what are we gonna do with all that space? Find some pictures and stuff to put on there. This covers that. No problem.
All right, guys. So we made it back home after dropping Casey's present off to him, and we've already started our next project. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks again, Casey, for getting me started on here, and you know, I'm sure we'll be doing all kinds of stuff together later on. But for now, if any of you guys like watching carving stuff or different building stuff, we are going to video some of our next project, and that is building a greenhouse on our deck. So we've got all these oak beams. I got them a couple years ago. They were super cheap. It was 30 beams for $300. So now we're going to convert them into a 10 by 12 greenhouse on the deck, because we're tired of paying so much at the grocery store for all the dang fruits and vegetables. So we've already got our garden started. It's 40 feet by 40 feet with raised beds. But now we need to get our greenhouse so we can get our starts going earlier. And then we did find some windows. Had a lady out in Powell Butte, Janine's Junk. She's on Marketplace, and she has all kinds of different building material. So if you guys like watching that stuff or like the carving stuff, you know, make some comments in there, and I'll try to post some more of that stuff. And we will be getting back on the truck soon. You know, we got a lot of stuff to do around here, so keeping us busy. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and make comments if what you guys want to see. All right, guys. Thanks.